Morning. I've noticed I always do that, don't I? I always start with a scratch of the nose. Maybe it's one of them nervous things, like Prince Charles does with his cuffs or whatever. But there you go. Proper early for work. I don't quite know what happened because it felt like I left late. But there you go. Horse done. Everyone's nicely fed. Excuse me. Got my copy of the Daily Telegraph. Just read about the budget. I'm not a particularly political person, but it is sort of something that started to interest me a bit as I get older. Don't really know why. Well, I do know why, because I'm hearing and seeing and so much shit about, not for a second making any sort of claims to know the answers, but yeah, a lot of like I've said before about all the snowflakes and stuff like that. There's so much rubbish going on and people spouting so much rubbish that just want to read what's actually going on. What's happening in the real world, not in this sort of world of when everyone's unfair and human rights and all sorts of things, and you say one thing and all of a sudden you're racist or you're genderist or whatever. That's all sort of nonsense as far as I think. So really, look, no hands. That's clever, isn't it? I've hooked it over the steering wheel. So yeah, I'm just sort of starting to read up a little bit more about what's happening nowadays. I suppose when I was a kid, sort of late 70s, early 80s, it was very much sort of the Britishness. Do you know what I mean? There was quite there was a pride, if you like, about being British, and I can remember when I was 4 in 77, the Silver Jubilee, and everyone rallying together in the street and streets being closed and things, and celebrating the Silver Jubilee and Union Jacks and everything all over the place. And it's unfortunate that probably wouldn't be allowed any longer. I mean, there's people out there sort of saying we can't sort of have poppies to commemorate the tragic events in the World War One now. Don't agree. Obviously I was 7 or 8 or early teens at the most when all of these things happened, but a lot of it seemed to be a lot more innocent, togetherness, things like that, and that's something where if that was happening now I'd probably feel more comfortable about things, but without wanting to sound like a bit of a Luddite, it's largely social media, it's largely shit like this, it's largely the fact that, I mean, like politicians today, they're not entertainers, they're there to run the bloody country, but people expect them to be entertainers as well, they come under the entertainment section in papers, same as the royal family, These people are here to run the country, they're not here to sort of to entertain, and it seems sometimes that the public want all things from everyone. Do you know what I mean? Do you want them to run the country, or do you want them to dance well, or do you want them to make fools of themselves? It seemed to be, from my maybe blinkered and cotton-walled life back then, it seemed to be a lot easier, it seemed to be a lot yes or no, black or white, it was the Silver Jubilee, so let's fucking celebrate it, let's have all these flags everywhere, and anyone of any any colour, background, whatever, came and joined in with the party. You didn't have to label them, you didn't have to label anything, it was just a celebration of this happening, whereas now you know, every time you move, you get a questionnaire asking you about your gender, about your religion, about your race, about your colour, about your everything. Just for fucking people, you know. And you know, and those are there. Those questionnaires are there to prove that there isn't any of those isms. But to me, if there genuinely weren't any of those isms, they wouldn't need the questionnaires, because none of those things mattered, and none of those things do matter. So, yeah, I sort of, I think all this is to blame, you know. And yes, well, I'm not benefiting from it because no one frigging watches these things, so I'm not benefiting from it at all, you know. But now people are made to feel sort of social outcasts if you haven't got a Facebook account, you know, as if it matters. Well, you know, who cares really, you know? And as I say, 20, 30 years ago, it seemed to be, you know, you read whatever paper you wanted, and if there was a celebration or if there was something, it was on the 6 o'clock news, and that was it, you know. So yeah, I think probably, I don't know what I think, probably, to be honest. I've just sort of come to, someone's just pulled up in front of me to drop the child off, because there's a childminder next door to where I sort of park my car, and it's got one of those stupid personalised number plates. Now when I'm Prime Minister, I'll ban personalised number plates, because they are ridiculous. And, you know, in this world when we're trying to encourage people to learn to read and write and bring everyone up to be a certain skills level, having a number plate based on numbers and letters and saying it's a word, that doesn't encourage that, does it? A word is a word with letters, and a number is a number without letters, unless it's algebra. So there you go. Yeah, I don't know why I've done this really. I just don't know. It's a good day. Still not on my pills. I think that's probably what it's starting to make me think a little bit more. You know, stopping clouding things. And as I say, I haven't read about the budget or whatever, but I know there's going to be loads of crap in the papers and the Facebook and all sorts of things about how the money's been spent wrong. Well, you can't win. You know, if you ploughed all your money into the NHS, well, then people would say, well, why have you not put anything into the schooling? And you'd say, well, sorry, but the hospitals are better. But that's not good enough. You know, I think a lot of the public maybe think that there's more money than there is, whereas the only way there is money is by the public giving it to them. You know, so yes, we can have good schools, and we can have good hospitals, and we can have more police on the streets, and we can have X, Y, and Z, but it ain't free. So, you know, I think the government is doing the best they possibly can with the amount of money that they've got. If anyone thinks they can do a better job, why aren't they standing for Parliament? You know, do it. You know, the people that have done it have done it. You know, yeah. If you think you can do a better job of anything, you know, if you want to slag the road workers off for not doing the potholes, do it. Apply for a job with the council, get it done. Do it yourself. You know, and I suppose that is sort of how it used to be in some extent, didn't it? You know, people did do things for themselves. They weren't, what do they call them now? Millennials? Well, you know, when it wasn't, you know, my parents' day and before that and everything, it wasn't, they weren't generations of entitled people. Do you know what I mean? If there was a problem, people sorted it out themselves or rallied together. You know, I can remember our cul-de-sac where I lived before, having sort of babysitting circles and all sorts of crap like that. And it worked because there was a need there. They all got together and thought, okay, how can we solve that need? Nowadays, it would be, there's a need there, let's rally the council, let's put it all on Facebook how shit the world is, let's see if anybody somewhere along the line is discriminating against anything, and let's sue them, and let's get a picture of ourselves in the paper. But that never sold anything, you know. And I think that's what if I was anyone, and I don't mean that with a violin. I'm no one. If I was anyone who had any influence, you know, I would sort of try to bring back that. Okay, what are you doing about these problems? You know, what are you doing to solve the things that are that are wrong, either in your house, in your street, in your world? What are you doing about it? Instead of relying on other people to do it and then slagging them off when they do their best. But anyway, there you go. That was a bit longer than I thought. Bit of a boring one. Well, it wasn't. I think, you know, things are becoming more important to me, certainly now, which I suppose will mean people will just sort of switch off. Which again, you know, it's you know, it is what it is, isn't it? You know, but I think we're all sort of certainly entitled to have our own thoughts, and I suppose I'm lucky enough in that I can do this. Yeah, you know, I'm fairly anonymous, so it's not like I'm going to get sort of beaten up for what I'm saying. Do you know what I mean? If you don't like it, switch it off. If you don't like it, talk to me about things, because I don't think nothing in the world is particularly radical, is it? At the moment, it's all fairly sort of greyed out because people are fearful of making these changes, you know. But anyway, that's me. Yeah, have a lovely day. It stopped raining now, so I'm in quite a good mood, you know. And as I said before, the coming off the pills has gone well. It's just sort of opening up a new portion of my thought. Do you know what I mean? And I'm trying not to be the flitter that I was. You know, I'm trying to sort of minimise the sort of fads and the phases and the flitting that I do, and it's almost like now I'm sort of seeing that there is a world outside, and as I say, that's why I'm not interested in the politics of things, but certainly interested now in current affairs, where I never really was. You know, I can remember saying in one of these earlier things, you know, until someone knocks on my door and says, "How are you?" I'm not going to care about them. That isn't the case, really. You know, we're all benefiting from this. I just wish, you know, the genuine sort of Britishness of when I was a child was back, and I think it can be if there weren't so many people digging their heels in. But there you go. Anyway, have a lovely day. I'm going to. Tuesday, be careful. See you later. Bye.